typing, asshole. What's up, everybody? It's the Hardy Construction. You can find us at hardyconstruction.tumblr.com, youtube.com/hardyconstruction, as well as facebook.com/thehardyconstruction with your host, Comp and
Alex.
Today's film is
Poltergeist, 1982.
Poltergeist 1982 is about a family's home that is haunted by a host of ghosts.
It's kind of like 1984, but with ghosts.
Who the fuck wrote that? A host of ghosts. That sounds like Eddie Murphy should be running around. It's directed by Tobe. Is it Toby or Tobe?
What's that? Who's that guy? Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry.
What about
I feel like
Perry?
Tyler Perry could be all the ghosts, you know? Like he's in a different ghost costume for each one.
He's flying around like, hello! Anyway, is it Tobe Hooper or Toby Hooper?
It looks like Toby.
To be Hooper.
Directed by To be Hooper. What is it like to be Hooper?
He's hanging with... Oh, is it Mr. Cooper? I fucked
Yeah,
up.
To be Hooper is hanging with Mr. Cooper.
That's just racist. It's written by Steven Spielberg, Michael Grice, and some other person. Anyway, it's...
the only one that matters is Steven Spielberg.
It's a film from 1982, and it's very much classic horror film. Very much a classic horror film. And it has a very storied... What is it? History, I would say.
Oh, yeah, that's like a classic. It's a classic.
Oh, besides just being
they
a film.
reference it all the time, like in all these different things.
Yeah. Watching it, I saw bits and pieces and everything else that I've seen lately, like even the gate with the tree, the scary tree outside of the house, out of the window. You know what I mean?
And you know the scene when he's reaching into the dad's face, or is that I might be thinking of Troll 2? Am I confusing two things? Whatever. There's a scene that's similar to the face ripping scene in this.
And also, I even saw that they used it in Dr. Anal POV when that door opens and see that big vagina. It was like the same thing. I was like, wow, just lifted that scene right out of there.
They really broke some boundaries in the porn industry.
It was speculum vision.
Steven Spielberg is a really big guy in the porn industry.
Yes. He wears his baseball cap backwards when he works in porn instead of forwards. Anyway.
And then he'll take it off to reveal his yarmulke.
No, it's actually he has two yarmulkes on. One is the lid, and he just puts it in front of the other. So anyway,
he uses a miniature yarmulke as protection when he's having sex.
So anyway,
it's a latex yarmulke.
So this film is about Craig T. Nelson and his family of the Freelings. And how would you explain what happens? How it starts out?
It starts out as just a friendly old real estate guy and his friendly old family, and they're just having a friendly old time.
I thought he was part of a construction business. I had no idea he was a real estate guy.
I think he
is real estate.
I think he's basically like Michael Bluth's job. Like he sells, housing and like develops houses and stuff.
I'm glad that show's only like 2 seasons, so I can watch it. Because then I don't have to really...
It's 3, but it's so quick and easy. Yeah, okay. I mean, I only got into that show basically not even a year ago, and I've seen every episode so many times now.
If nobody knows what we're talking about the Mein Kampf, the TV show. So Craig T. Nelson's father, of the patriarch of the Freeling family. His wife is played by Jo Beth Williams, who's Diane Freeling. They have a daughter named Dana, who's the 16-year-old. They have a little boy named Robbie, and the youngest one, who's probably the most famous character out of the film, Carol Ann, played by Heather O'Rourke. And
she has like a weird disease and like died from it. I'm not even sure what it was.
Yeah, I think what happened, we'll get into that. That's like a whole, that's why they say there's a curse, but that's also like the same thing they said about The Exorcist, about having a curse.
They say that about SNL too.
Do they?
Yeah.
Oh, please. But I mean, once something's going on for so long, there's always a curse attached to it. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
But let's just get that out of the way. So what happened after the Poltergeist? Everybody knows what happens in Poltergeist. The family gets haunted by a couple of ghosts that try to steal the daughter for some reason. But in reality, I think within the year of the film being made, the girl who played the daughter, it was so funny because watching it, I thought she had more of a prominent role in the movie, and she doesn't. Not really.
Yeah, half the time she's just a voice.
Yeah, she's just screaming and running out of the room. Played by Dominique Dunn, and she was murdered by her boyfriend. He actually strangled her until she.
Wait, is this real?
Yes.
Carol Ann was murdered?
No, not Carol Ann. The other daughter.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she was murdered. I read on that. I thought it was a stalker that killed her, but apparently.
Wait, so how was she in the sequels?
Because it's a different actor.
Oh my god.
Yeah. But anyway, she She was killed. Well, I wasn't sure. I thought she was killed by a stalker, but that might have been. That's actually someone else. Apparently, she was killed by her boyfriend. He's choked her to death until she was brain dead, and this happened within the year of the movie. And then 6 years later, Heather O'Rourke, who played the little girl, she died of. It was some kind of septum shock. I think her lower intestine exploded.
Ugh. Well, anyway, Craig T. Nelson is alive and happy.
But his curse was he was in Coach. So anyway.
That's true. Was that after that? After this?
Of course it was.
Well, you know who else was in there?
Who? Jerry Stiller?
The guy, Moon spells...
yeah.
I can't think of his name right now, which is embarrassing considering I've read the book like 80 times.
He was Dauber in the show, but anyway. But yeah, so apparently that happens, and they say it's a whole big curse. And the other... Tom
Cullen. Wait, no, is it Tom Cullen?
Is that a drink? The second biggest character obviously in the film is Zelda Rubinstein, who plays the very diminutive woman Zelda. Wait, who the fuck?
Well, that's her real name.
Oh, Tangina. She's playing Tangina.
Tangina. It's
anyway,
it's instead of like a pale gina, it's a tangina.
It's a very Latina gina. So the family starts out with, I didn't even notice it that I guess they reversed the shot. Well, anyway, in the beginning of the film, we see that the house is pretty much quiet, and the father's asleep on the couch, and the little daughter, played by Heather O'Rourke, Caroline, she's going up to this TV.
I'm thinking of like really mean jokes after you told me she was strangled and made into brain dead. I don't even want to say them; they're too mean.
Go ahead and say it. Go ahead and say it, big man. Go ahead. Anyway,
I feel evil.
It's so funny because not that that's funny, but I'm saying that the film starts out with, I guess when back then televisions used to actually go off the air channels. Nowadays, there was just 24 hours of TVs. You know what I mean? You can just, I'll stay.
You can't even watch static if you wanted to.
Right. I wake up till like 4. I stay up till 4 in the morning thinking about the horrors of my life with the TV.
I miss static.
And this movie starts out with like was it the Pledge of Allegiance or some song, some
what, when the scene where it all starts?
The opening credits, yeah. So the TV just goes off and it starts showing the snow, the snowy channel, bad reception. And she starts putting her hands up to the TV and she starts talking loudly, and the family all comes down the staircase. It's very weird because why the whole family comes down at one time is very strange. And apparently they said that they shot that in reverse when they come down the staircase to make it feel weird. And I was like, I didn't even fucking notice that it was weird, so it didn't matter to me. And Caroline is saying that there's people that, speaking to her through the television set. And it's funny because the film has all the hallmarks of a Steven Spielberg movie. Like it would
have been better if they just fucking committed her then and there, and that way she would never have gotten kidnapped, but she would have gotten like electroshock and stuff.
Yeah, that would have been a much funnier movie.
It would have been
like Angelina Jolie's her roommate.
The whole movie just starts out. It's a little girl like talking to the TV, and they instantly just like tie her up and throw her in a mental institution, and then it's like American Horror Story Part 2.
Yeah, right.
The whole time.
So it's funny because it's like much more whimsical. The first bit of the film, it takes about like half an hour before any like real paranormal stuff starts happening besides the TV set.
Yeah.
And I mean, if they say there's a whole big thing about Tobe Hooper directing this film. So
what did they say?
His name. They said that he basically, well, not to make it sound cheesy, but Steven Spielberg was like the ghost director. Like he actually directed the film, and Tobe Hooper was just kind of there. Like apparently, what Steven Spielberg said is he would be on set. He only missed 3 days of set, and he was in control of all the storyboards. This is what they say. And
then he directed it, not Tobe Hooper.
Basically, like whenever somebody went up to Tobe Hooper and asked him an idea, he wouldn't say anything, and then Steven Spielberg would kind of fit in. Why don't you do that? No, but he actually directed it. But Steven Spielberg was, I guess, basically pulling all the strings for stuff to happen.
I guess if I had Steven Spielberg pulling the strings for me, I'd go with it.
So I don't know. I guess maybe they have a riff because you never really see Tobe Hooper do anything. This is like the most money Tobe Hooper has made making a film, because he made Texas Chainsaw, and that wasn't even barely what like this made. So, but you don't really hear about Tobe Hooper anymore. You know what I mean? The only movie that I've seen of his was like on Sci-Fi.
Well, it's because his name is so hard to pronounce.
Tobe Hooper. I saw some random horror movie that he made on Sci-Fi, and it was just like, what the hell is this? It was a shitty ending. It was just bad.
Although he's doing a horror movie right now.
Is he? What's it called?
It's called, I'm not sure how to say it, but Djinn or whatever, like, like the evil spirits.
Didn't they already have that with fucking Wishmaster? Enough of those movies. Jesus.
I don't know. It shouldn't be that bad.
So what's your history with this film?
I've seen it forever. I don't know. I've known it forever. I don't even remember when I first saw it.
I remember watching bits and pieces of both films. I was more accustomed to the second film. Like I remember the old man.
Yeah, that guy's fucking creepy.
Because the guy had cancer in real life. I thought it was makeup effects, but he actually looks like a skeleton. That's why he's so thin during the movie.
Ugh.
And
at least he got a good use out of it, I guess.
Jesus, I only remember the second film more because of Kane, of his character,
and Kane. I don't remember much except the scenes with him. And then the third one's all the mirror shit, but it's a really bad movie, actually.
I thought you said you liked it. Who was I talking to?
I did like it because I hadn't seen it since I was a kid, but then I watched it like a few months back and realized, actually, it's like a really bad movie.
What's so bad about it? Is it Tom Skerritt?
It's just like, it feels like you're watching like a Lifetime movie or something. Like, like it's so low quality.
Oh, really? Who played
It's just
Carol
really
Ann
bad. It's just really bad, yeah.
Who was Carol Ann in that movie?
Maybe it was the real Carol Ann. I don't know.
All I know is that the way when you see Tom Skerritt, I don't know what show that guy was in, but to me he looks like a guy who should be selling oatmeal. You know what I mean? Not like in movies. You know how like this guy was in The Thing, Wilfred Brimley, and then he was in oatmeal commercials and diabetes commercials.
But he was awesome.
He probably got diabetes eating all that oatmeal. But like I don't remember him from anything else besides that movie and Hard Target. And that's kind of how, like, I don't think I've ever seen a Tom Skerritt movie, so he should be selling oatmeal. You know what I mean? Just...
Oh, the girl was in all 3 Poltergeists. I looked it up.
I would figure they replaced her in the third one. I thought she died.
And so was the midget.
She's a fidget. She's not a midget.
Oh.
Anyway, so let's get into the craziness of the film. What did you think of the scares of this movie? Like, what did you think about direction? It definitely felt like...
The fucking clown scene, to this day, still creeps me out.
Oh, but
I hate it.
That reminds me of when I was talking about all three movies together. I only saw the first 2, really. I didn't really see much of the third one besides, I think, a mirror scene, and I was too creeped out to watch that part. But I remember seeing sections of the first one and the second one. This was the first time I actually saw the whole film because I was too much of a fucking chicken shit as a kid. And there were parts with... I remember specifically the clown scene, the tree scene, the guy tearing off his face in the mirror.
Yeah.
And I think the chairs flipping upside down on the
table. What about the big skull demon coming out of the wall?
You mean Freddy Krueger's like buddy from Freddy Krueger 3?
Mm-hmm.
And then from part 2, I remember the old man Kane. He's yelling at them, and then the really bad special effects when people would walk through him, and you can tell he wasn't there. Like, it was just horrendous green screen. And anyway, but scenes like that, and then also in the part 1 when... Oh, actually, in part 2, when they had the puppet version of Carol Ann's face, when it like morphs, that shit's...
I don't remember that, actually.
That's spooky. Because I think the mother was trying to reach Carol Ann from getting sucked into the void again, and then her face stretches out. Oh man,
these demons are all like sick perverts. They just want to like... Little girl. They want this
That's
little girl.
That's what I was thinking. You know, like, I was watching the film, and I was thinking this must have been... This was the ghost of that guy who's Chicago who was kidnapping us.
Oh god.
It was the ghost of Ariel Castro's grandfather.
There's I think Kane, you find out in the later movies, like, is the ultimate bad guy. Like, he is...
Yeah, they retrofitted the storyline in part 2 and 3 that cheap gorilla monkey monster that was in front of the door trying to scare them off was actually Kane's ghost or something like that. Like, him and his cult actually the ones behind the whole problem that they were having in the house in the first place.
But that doesn't make sense because it was like the Indian burial ground.
That was the second one, right?
No, the first one. I'm saying the way it ends.
No, I didn't know if it was an Indian burial ground in the first one. I thought it was just like regular people that died.
I think.
No, in the first one.
Am I wrong? Yeah,
in the first one, it was just regular people that were buried, and then they moved the bodies. I mean, they moved the cemetery, the tablets. What the hell are those called?
Headstones.
Jesus, headstones.
Tombstones.
Yeah, tombstones, and they didn't get rid of the bodies. That was a problem in the first one. The second one, I thought it had to do with Indians because the Native American guy was there.
Or maybe just because he mentions, oh yeah, the guy Kane's mortal enemy. Maybe he just mentions the Indian burial ground. He's like, it's not as if it's an Indian burial ground. Oh, and that's the guy from Return of the Living Dead too, right?
Yeah, that was awesome. The price
that guy only plays scumbags. He has a face of like a thief or something. It's kind of funny that he goes with that, though.
Apparently, people got so pissed off at the actor, they said they would never buy a ShopRite They told him that because the way he treated the character.
What, Mr. Teague? James Cameron?
Yeah, people are fucking stupid. Can you imagine that?
What did he do that was so bad?
He just he moved tombstones without moving the bodies. It's a fictional character.
They were mad at him for what his character did.
Yeah, people are mentally ill.
But you know what though? Like, I mean, that's weird. But there are some people in some movies that I hate them, and I know it's not real. But like
Joffrey from Game of Thrones or something.
Cooper from fucking Night of the Living Dead remake, the one that was made in the 90s. I fucking hate Cooper. Like, I would kill that guy. I hate him.
Do you watch Game of Thrones?
No.
There's a kid named Joffrey who plays like this really fucking snotty bastard. And
is he like the evil king or prince or whatever?
He's really good at playing a fucking bastard, and people are like, I hate that motherfucker. And they're like, the poor guy never does like any act. Like he's like
right, yeah, he can't help it. Like I hate like Malfoy, but like
yeah, not... I can separate that, but people in real life are like, you know what I mean? They're like,
oh yeah, there's definitely crazy people out there for sure.
But it also reminds me of the part. Another scene that I remembered from the first film is and it spooked me to this day. When the mother's running out of the house frantic because the house started haunting them again. She falls inside this area that's dug into the ground of the front of the house.
Oh, and then the tombs are popping up.
Yeah, like it was supposed to be made into a pool, and the tombs start. I don't know how they buried the tombs fucking standing up. But anyway, the tombs, the graves start like.
You know, the earth will like push them out and stuff. Supposedly in Louisiana, like there are parts where like bones will just come up out of the ground.
In New Orleans, they have to be buried above ground because the water will actually wash them out of the ground. That's
right. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Then is New Orleans. Yeah, like
so
I heard
the caskets popped up. Anyway, the caskets pop out, and these bodies start floating in the water. And I was telling Danny earlier that they actually used real corpses and didn't tell the actresses.
Which is pretty funny. And I was thinking it could be like maybe Steven Spielberg, after Schindler's List was made, you know, he obtained some Jewish skeletons.
I'm not even gonna make the joke I was gonna think of. So,
do you think you could tell, like, you know, like, are they Jewish? Could we investigate this and find out?
No.
Do you think that they're the Chinese prisoners that are in the body shows?
I think. Jesus. I know they found out like a lot of I didn't even want to get into it, Danny. What are you doing to me? So anyway, the film deals with this whole family. What did you think of the spookiness? Was it more do you think it was
it's more like an epic nostalgic movie than a scary movie.
Do you think the film started out almost innocently spooky, like the parts where the chair's flipping up? It was almost, to me, it felt like Close Encounters of the Third Kind. You know what I mean? Like
no, it's not scary at first at all. It's kind of just like, oh, cool, what's happening? You slide from the room around when you put a thing in a circle or something. But then, like, it gets really weird when the guy's ripping his face off. And
how bad was
definitely some creepy moments, but it's
how
more like... How
terrible was the animatronic face in that?
What happened?
How terrible was the animatronic face in that part? I mean, it's still
I kind of love it.
No, it was cool, but it reminded me of this Lou Reed video. Like he's ripping his face off, and
Lou
the
Reed
robot
did a concert
keeps singing.
for dogs, supposedly.
What's that?
He did a concert for dogs. Like he wanted the people to bring their dogs, and
Lou Reed?
Lou Reed, yeah, Velvet Underground, right? Am I being stupid? Is that not the right?
No, I mean he's just. If he did that, he's an asshole. Or he let people in for free if they brought
their
dogs.
Keep talking. I'll look it up in the meantime.
Well, anyway, I remember the Lou Reed thing is I know I tried to listen to
concert for dogs came right up.
Did he let people get in for free with their dogs? Or
it's a high frequency dog concert.
Oh my god! I could have.
And it says Lou Reed will be taking a dog walk on the wild side later this weekend. So stupid.
That makes me think when he was doing that shitty album with Metallica, like I think he must have been gone on that. Did that happen after that album, Lulu, whatever it was called with Metallica?
I don't know.
Because that makes me think he must have been in the recording studio, and then a fucking amplifier fell on his head for him to think of some stupid.
It's saying
shit
it
like
happened in 2010.
Oh boy, Lou Reed. Anyway, so let's talk about this film. What did you like about the film? What didn't you like about the film?
The thing is I don't like about the film is that it kind of has, like, it goes too long, you know? It kind of has, like, a false ending.
Yeah, it's nearly 2 hours long.
Yeah, like, it kind of has the same thing as, like, Lord of the Rings, where you think it's going to end, and then it keeps going.
Yeah. It was funny because I know once it had that first ending, the fake ending,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, this movie's for 2 hours long. I was like, that storyline pretty much wrapped itself up pretty quick. You know what I mean? I was
Yeah.
like the Zelda,
And then they do like the real ending. Then.
right. And you notice like once you're taking a little bit too long with something, I'm like, wait, there's more happening in this movie. Like, why? What the fuck? Didn't they solve this?
I mean, I'm happy. I'm happy that they got that last scene with the house sucking up into itself. But I feel like
Which
they
I
could have
first
cut
saw in
out
The
certain
Simpsons.
things.
But
What happened?
no, I remember seeing that in The Simpsons before I even saw it in here. So I was like, I just thought of The Simpsons, the first, I think, Halloween of Horror, Treehouse of Terror.
Oh, okay.
They did that in the first episode of that one, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember that in The Simpsons. So I mean, obviously The Simpsons took that off of there.
I know
But
Family Guy has a whole episode based on this.
there's like a whole, there's a whole bunch of logical faults that happen in the film, like after finding out the house is haunted.
A lot of physics problems in there.
Like what?
Like what? Falling through walls, baseballs going through floors, like demons.
And the parts where, like, I mean, when they save Carol Ann at the end and they still stay in the house until they can move out. Like,
yeah, why would they do that? Yeah.
I understand it's to keep the film going, but where the fuck is the logic in it? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, if I were them, I would have fucking just anywhere. I would have slept in my car 2 miles away. It doesn't matter.
I did like the fact that they were kind of realistic characters. The mother was kind of a hippie, right? Because you like smoking weed.
I kind of really like their relationship.
Yeah, I did. I was like, that made me feel sad that I don't have a relationship like that.
Yeah,
every relationship
like,
I've
laughing,
been,
smoking pot,
every relationship I've been in has been fucking shit. And then you're like, why can't I have this fictional made up? Oh yeah, because it doesn't fucking exist.
Yeah, it exists. It's just you know, it usually goes along with your daughter getting kidnapped by ghosts or something.
And then they made like the 16-year-old daughter like a real slut in like certain like.
There was a scene where he's trying to lift up her shirt to show her boobs, and I was like, "Yeah, Kane, go for it."
That was in the second one.
No, there's a scene where she's climbing up the wall. Remember?
Oh right. Oh yeah, that's right. It was
not Kane though; it's the Beast or whatever.
Kane always reminded me of the Quaker Oats guy. Like he was just gonna make.
You're right.
With his big teeth.
You know who else has a face like Kane's that scares the shit out of me?
The wrestler.
The guy from Children of the Corn, which I would like to do.
Oh, that kid with the big teeth. I always thought that was.
Yeah, his name is Isaac. I think he is.
I always thought that was Jake Busey when I was younger, but I realized it wasn't. That guy just looked fucking.
He
weird.
is so scary the way that guy looks, and like Kane could be his grandpa.
Jake Busey has the same teeth as that, but he doesn't look as severe as that kid.
Is that like the Gary Busey's son or something?
Yeah. He was. Did you ever see Starship Troopers? He was the guy who played electric violin. He looks just like him, but like different.
Yeah, I'm looking at a picture of him right now. Wow. Okay.
But anyway, what were the strongest points of this film for you?
I said I just love. No, I didn't say. Just the whole story. Like, you know, it's really fun and nostalgic, and I love the relationship. I love all the characters in this movie. They're all like really interesting, cool characters.
Did you buy the mother's kind of? I guess she was a hippie because that kind of makes sense, and I understood why they decided to stay in the home while the daughter was missing, and why they didn't run to the police. I mean, for me, I was able to believe that, you know what I mean, to kind of take care.
You think that the mom making the daughter Carol Ann sit in the circle with a helmet on is the reason they took the daughter?
I don't know. They said that
got her interested.
I think they said that the baby was actually born in the house. The bad guy, whatever his name is.
Oh,
he said that.
Okay.
He said, "Oh, your last kid was born in the house, actually, right?" So maybe that stirred something. You know, they have that whole story. I mean, that whole theory that young girls attract ghosts for some reason. Like,
is it real? Jeez, I don't want to have a daughter now.
Then he's ghosts with horse shit. But
don't say things like that. Then you make them come to you.
And I like the flirty relationship between her and Craig T. Nelson. I liked his character, but you know, he kind of reminds me of like a film version of Al Bundy, but just physically.
Right.
You know?
He kind of reminds me of the guy from Coach.
Is that what it is? Imagine Dauber and Jerry Stiller came in, like the two characters from Coach, and they asked him where the fuck he's been and why is he not like coaching the.
What's wrong with you?
Hey, what are you doing? Whatever. That was the worst joke I ever said on this shit.
MOON. That spells Craig T. Nelson.
So what was the worst parts of this film for you?
It's just what I said. It just drags a little at points, you know.
Yeah, I don't think it's an offensive film, and I don't think there's anything.
Yeah, it's really there's nothing bad about this movie at all.
You can definitely feel that it's like one of those Hollywood movies. You know what I mean? Like, you know how they do, like if you watch,
Well, it's back when Hollywood made good movies.
Right. Exactly right. Like, you know how like you can tell it was a studio film as opposed to if you watch Sinister. Do you
Right.
know how if you watch Sinister, it has that do-it-yourself quality to it, which I'm all for. Well, not that movie, but how I'm all for it. Like you know how Peter Jackson, his first
Yeah.
films kind of like were all about
Oh, his first ones were
do-it-yourself.
made.
Yeah, right. As opposed to like everything was like you know James Cameron, I think is the only guy that kind of keeps doing it that way. Do you know what I mean? Like his
What, the
movies.
do it yourself or the
No, no,
studio?
no. Studio films, obviously. Like James Cameron
Yeah.
movies that like fit, still look like old school films, except for
And
without the
I love
CGI.
that kind of feeling.
Me
It
too.
looks
No, no, I do. It feels like holy shit,
great.
this is like a old school. And Fincher sort of is like that, but Fincher's movies are so strange and cold.
What about
and
what's
fucking
his
amazing.
name? The fucking guy that made Super 8 and all that.
J.J. Abrams. No,
Yeah, I feel like
he.
he would be into that.
You think so?
Yeah,
I
like
think
it
I
has,
think what he's
his
doing because
movies have such like a great feel to them.
he was taught by Spielberg. He was basically under Spielberg's wing. So I guess he's trying to do it that way, which I understand because I like the latest Star Trek, the first Star Trek that came out. I mean, whatever the fucking remake, sequel, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I heard the new one's not that good. But anyway,
Oh really? Yeah.
and that like that kind of film. You know what I mean? Like if you watch, even like the Avengers feels kind of, which I liked a lot.
Don't bring up Iron Man 3.
We should do a
It's
special
terrible.
podcast.
Guys, if you haven't seen it yet, it's very disappointing.
But anyway, we'll get into that later. But with this film, it feels very much like a Steven Spielberg. Like Steven Spielberg knows what to shoot. I haven't watched Lincoln, so I don't know what kind of. I don't even remember. I think the last.
Did he make that?
Yeah, he did.
I didn't know that.
The last Steven Spielberg film I think I saw in theaters was, the day the Earth was a day Attack of the what the fuck was it
Yeah,
called?
the Earth Stood Still
Is that what it's called?
is the one where the
No,
robot
that was
comes?
Keanu Reeves.
I don't
His
know.
was War in the Planets, War of the what
War of
hell
the
is it?
Worlds?
War of the Worlds, that one. Which
okay.
I didn't like at all because that ending was pretty stupid. But his Minority Report, I fucking love that movie. I love Minority Report.
Yeah, he knows a
like
lot
crazy.
about minorities.
He keeps them out of the industry. But just kidding. But yeah, anyway, but it feels that way, and that's why us talking about it is kind of it's kind of like when we talk about John Carpenter movies. But the thing is, we're saying that because even though it was Tobe Hooper, it was really you can really see Steven Spielberg's DNA in all this work. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
all this
he came all over every inch of film.
he
He
like
really
Gavalt,
he really
Gavalt.
squirted his load everywhere.
So Danny, what would you give this film?
I'm gonna have to give this film a 10 out of 10. Carol Ann, go to the light.
I will give it a 9 out of 10. Screw it, a 10 out of 10.
Oh no, you don't have to please me. I'll be disappointed, but it's okay.
Nah, because it's classic. A 10 out of 10 jewelry falling out of the ceiling and then making believe that you have to have it displayed when you're actually just going to pawn it for some drugs and meth.
Right.
So, Danny, what's the final word?
Shaba, shaba, goosh, goosh.